Hey everyone, Chris from Meeple Overboard here doing a solitaire playthrough of Mandala. This is a two-player game, but also I'm doing the solitaire variant of it. This is from Lookout Spiel, one of my favorite publishers, and this is another entry in what I consider to be sort of a spiritual line of excellent two-player card games like Jaipur or like Lost Cities. This is the map. We are two, I guess, mandala artists playing cards from hand into either what's called the mountain here in the middle or the field. There's two separate mandala circles. We'll be trying to grab cards from the mountain areas by having the most cards on our side of the field. But whoever has the most cards on their side grabs these cards from the middle first, alternating until they're all taken. Cards are going to get played from my hand into either my side of the field or the mountain on either one of the mandalas on my turn. Or another action I could choose to do is I could choose to discard a certain number of cards and draw back up. You'll see how the main actions work, but what's different, if you're familiar with the game, what's different? Well, Solitaire, only I'm actively playing the computer opponent. The rules are, I guess, a translation from the German rulebook, for some reason not in the US English release. I'm going to call it Mandala Bot because that sounds good to me. Mandalatron or something like that. The computer player is going to just flip over a card from the deck here, and it'll either get played into the mountain or it'll start getting stacked up on their side as well. And I'll go through those little automated rules here pretty simply. So setup is easy. 6 cards to my hand, and then 2 cards face down into what is called my cup. In case you're not familiar with this, as we grab cards from the mountain, the middle region, we'll be adding cards of different colors to these areas here, what is called the river. And at the end of the game, cards that we grab and add here are, this is going to indicate how many points those cards are worth. And then any additional, say, oranges that I grab, I won't put them here into the river area, I'll put them into my face down scoring area. These don't score, these just indicate how much these cards over here will score at the end of the game. So hopefully you want color diversity, you want to try and get all 6 colors, and you want to put a bunch of cards here so that you score more than the other player, or in this case, the automated computer player. So that brief explanation out of the way, super easy game to catch on to, and easy to see how the computer player is going to be handled. So let's just go ahead and start. I, as the human player, am going to start. And I'm going to take the first option here. I'm going to play cards onto my side of the field. I can play any number of cards of the same color onto the side of the field, so long as this color is not either represented in the mountain area or in my opponent's side of the circle. So for example, I could not play oranges here because orange is already represented in the middle. I cannot play reds here onto this side of the circle because reds are already represented elsewhere. So I'm going to play the reds into this mandala, this circle, because that will give me points. Now the trick is, I went from 6 cards, played 2, and I only have 4. I'm going to continue to only have 4. I do not draw up when I play cards into my side of the field to try and get majority. If I wanted to, on my turn, I could play a color that is either already represented in the middle or a new color. I could play that there in order to draw up 3 cards, but you have a hard hand limit of 8. So what I'm doing, I'm choosing to play these 2 here, knowing that I will not draw more cards. So now, that is my only action, it's my whole turn, and the computer player, Mandalatron, is going to show us its stuff. Mandalatron here is going to, what are they going to do? They're going to flip over one card, they're going to flip over cards until they hit some sort of repeat for each circle. They're essentially going to take 2 turns, one for this mandala, one for this mandala, and the number of cards they flip over is going to just depend on until they hit a duplicate. They flip over purple. Purple is not represented yet in the circle, so they're going to continue to take actions over here. Another purple is going to get added to their side. A black card is not yet represented in this area either. And so now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 6 colors are represented here. We just keep playing and adding cards into each area until all 6 colors are represented, at which point we'll show you how to grab cards and add them to our rivers and add them to our cups. So they flip over a card here. You'll notice this one matches one of the cards on my side. Therefore, they will stop. This will simply get discarded. So that's the end of their turn for the left mandala. Let's move to the right mandala. They will flip over a card. Yellow, not represented. Flip over another one. Yellow. Who shuffled this deck? It was me, unfortunately. Purple, not represented. Yellow, on their own side of the field, so they just keep going. Green, oh my gosh. Orange, hey look, orange is already represented in this area, so they're going to stop. They will just simply discard that. So now it's my turn again, and as you notice here, right, the fact that they played yellows on their side means I can no longer put this yellow on my side or in the middle. That's bad. They played black, so I can no longer add black to their side or here. So this is what I'm going to choose to do. This is not a huge deal yet, but it could be important. I'm going to play this black card over on this side here. Now you'll notice that's yellow, purple, green, orange, red, black. That's all 6 colors that are in the game. And once all 6 colors are added to a region, whichever player has the most cards on their side will grab from here first. Now there's a little breakdown as to how they're going to go ahead and grab cards. Given this face-up information here, they'll first either grab whatever cards there are the most of. Well, it's a tie. And then they'll have a little series of which cards are more valuable to them versus which cards are more valuable to me. And at this point, there's nothing, so they're just simply going to grab the leftmost card. They add it over here. I'm going to grab the remaining card and put it over here. The reason I bothered playing a black card over here is simply that if I had 0 cards here, and let's say the computer player were to have all the colors filled in, I wouldn't grab cards. What would simply happen is the computer player would grab a card, and I would choose a color to discard. Since I did this, I at least have some coverage over here, so I get to add a red card to my river. So henceforth, all red cards in this game that I earn will go straight here to the cup area and be worth 1 point. This is a good time to mention, over here we start the game with 2 cards face down, ready to score. The computer player here, I don't know what their 2 cards are. Mine are black. I would hopefully like to be able to score when I grab a black card from the middle, hopefully add it to one of these high up victory point regions so that these cards I start with are maybe worth a lot of points. So, grabbed a card. The mountain, the middle area is empty. Therefore, we now finish up this by simply discarding all these cards. These cards go away. You seed the mandala with 2 more starting cards in the region here, and you do it in order, left to right, simply because that's one of the tiebreakers on what cards does the computer player draw on their turn. So you'll remember that that was my turn, so unfortunately we have to watch the computer player take more turns. So they're going to go here on the left side. They flip over. Oh, look at this. If the first card that they flip over is a card that is in the middle, right, is in the mountain, they'll simply add it there, and they are done. Now they move over here where there's a lot of damage to be done. They flip over a card, purple, not represented. Flip over a card, purple, they get it, purple. Oh my gosh, green. Now that they hit a repeat, right, if this were the first card flipped over, they would add it. Since it is several cards into the series, they will discard it. So that's good. It's back to me, back to reality. Now I'm down to only 3 cards and colors that are mostly already represented elsewhere. So what I think I'm going to do, I could either choose to add a card here, because once again, I at least want some sort of representation. Oh boy, I'm so low on cards though. I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to add an orange card here. I'm going to add an orange card here to this mandala because The only way that I can draw more cards is by playing a card into the mountain, the center of that region. If I do that, I draw 3 cards. I want to do that because I want more color cards to work with. So this is something here. End of my turn. Now the computer player is going to go again. Left mandala here, they flip over a card. Oh dear. Oh dear me. They add an orange directly here. You know what, I might be okay with that. They move over to this mandala. Red does match the middle, therefore they'll play it right there. And you know what, that's good for me. That is not a huge loss of control or anything that I've got going on. So I'm going to this is a weird situation here. These red cards are only worth 1 point to me, whereas if I get a green card, I can make future green cards worth 1, but I don't have any. So I have to just kind of decide what it is that I'm doing. I could play a yellow card here into the middle to be able to draw more cards. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that in order to be able to draw 3. So I draw 1, 2, 3. This is okay. This is okay. So that's the end of my turn. I've got 7 cards in hand. And now time for the computer player, once again, to start taking some actions. Left-hand side here. Orange gets added to the middle. That's going to be a lot of 1-point cards that the computer player gets. But thankfully, not anything worse. So the first card they flipped matched the mountain, so they added the mountain. Moving over to the other mandala. Orange, not represented here. They add it. Next card, yellow, not represented here. They add it to their side. Now this gets really hairy because if they're able to draw a black card and add it here, I will have 0 cards, as I mentioned. Therefore, I won't be able to... I won't be able to grab anything. Negative, bad Mandalatron. So they will grab... Their first choice is whatever there's the most cards of. So one of these cards gets added to the 2 victory point area. The other one gets flipped over here. They've now earned 2 points. My turn, I don't get to keep the green. I simply have to discard it because I did not play any cards on my side of the field. I know, you're very disappointed in me, and I am too. You'll get used to it. So, it's a tough computer player, I think. So this mandala has scored, it has been destroyed, thematically per the game of instructions, so these cards flip over here. And remember how I mentioned, I've got 2 black cards sitting over here, and so if I can try and score a couple of different colors and add them over here, then I can start, when I eventually grab a black from one of the mountains, I can make it a higher up point value. So here's to figuring out how to do that. Hey, look at this. I have a green card, and a green is enough to, I think, 1, 2, purple, black, orange, yellow, red. 5 of the 6 colors are here. This is the last card that will trigger the scoring, or trigger the division, the splitting up of the cards. This is interesting because if I were to play this out here, I would tie, and therefore the tiebreaker for who gets to start grabbing cards first is the other side gets to grab cards first, because it's, or whichever person played the card that made it equal, 3 cards here, 3 cards there, the other person gets to grab first. I don't want to do that yet, but what I will do is I'll play these 2 red over here, because I think that's, I think that's something. Ooh, or I could start throwing cards of a different color out over here so that the computer player doesn't just run away with it. They're more likely to hit a repeat of some of my colors. So I could do either one of those things. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play 1 orange over here to try and mitigate. Yeah, I'm going to do damage control, I think, more than actually seeking to score points or grab the majority here. Mandalatron goes, orange gets added over here. My golly, that is so many cards of that color. Over here, red gets added to their side. Continuing along, yellow gets added to their side. Boo! Now they hit a repeat, thankfully, of one of the cards that I played out. So this simply gets discarded, end of their action, back to me. That's so many orange cards, and I'm okay with them getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. That's an uncomfortably lot of single point value cards, but I'd rather have them get singles than, imagine if this was 5 3-point cards. That would be nasty. So I'm going to play now... I'm going to play now these two reds over here because I think that my next turn I'm going to play a green here so that I can grab yellows, he'll grab orange, and then I could grab the green, and then I'll have lots of color diversity. That's my hope. That's my hope. Don't quote me on it. Computer player's turn. They flip over the green. Well, that's too bad. But now I have to math something here, right? Because they played... Oh, you know what? There's a special edge case rule here, right? The first card that they revealed was the 6th missing color. So they can choose to either play it on their side or to place it into the middle. And what's going to happen here is if they play it into the middle, since I have the majority of cards, I would choose first, meaning I would choose a color. They would choose a color, then I would choose a color. They're not going to add an extra color in there for me to grab. So they're going to play it over here. And now because they played the card that tied up the number of cards between the two fields, I get to go first. Therefore, I get to grab either orange or yellow. This is where math happens, folks. If I grab yellow, one of them becomes a 2-point indicator, and then the other two become a total of 4 points over here. If I grab orange, one of them becomes a 2-point indicator, and then it becomes 8 points. But the problem is, for them, yellow would then become a 3-point indicator, and I'm giving them 6 points. Also, I'm giving them more colors here. Once a player hits all 6 colors of the mandalas over here, that triggers the end of the game. So I want to give them less color diversity, plus that means future cards they grab are going to be worth more colors. You know, more points in higher color regions. So I think the risk that I'm taking here is that I'm going to add one of these yellow cards here, grab these two for 4 points. The computer player is going to grab all 5 of these, and these are going to become 5 points because it's the lowest value card. These get wiped. And then the mandala recedes with orange. Good gravy, folks. I don't need that much orange. Well, you know, give them orange, I guess. So that one's done. Now the computer player comes over here. Black is represented already, and it's in the middle, so it's going to go there. So hey, look, it's my turn again. I was going to play this green card over there, but now I can't. I have the choice of either playing green here or in the middle. Is this all 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What colors are we missing here? Red, yellow, black, purple, orange. So this, once again, is the last card missing. If I play it here, they get to grab first, so I'm just giving them more stuff. That's a bad idea. So, I think I could play orange over here. I'm going to play the 2 black cards here, perhaps to get some more majorityage. We shall see. Computer player goes black. Hey, look at that. On their first card, they flip over a color that I have, so they simply just discard it, and that's the end of their action here. Moving to the other circle, they flip over it. No! This is that exact situation I was worried about. Because they lead here, because this card they're going to add is the 6th card, is the 6th color, they have no reason not to play it here. Computationally, it's advantageous to them. So, this triggers all 6 colors in the mandala, therefore they have the most cards, they get to go first. They're going to grab black, which is a big disappointment to me because I have those black cards sitting there. This becomes a 3-point indicator, this becomes 3 points, and I'm getting smashed, folks. Just straight up smashed. I now get to choose between these two, and whichever one I don't pick will go over here to become a 4-point indicator for them. And because I simply don't know, I'm going to go ahead and take purple. They will take green. And then that's the end of that. This is a playthrough video, not necessarily a good play video. Now it's my turn, and I only have 2 cards. Now the gamble that I risk here is I can never take an action that would empty me of cards. So I have to do something that will get me more cards, right? I could choose to play this green, and then on my next turn I could play orange out here to draw up 3 cards. but I can never end my turn devoid of cards. That's a very bad idea in general. I hate this feeling of having the computer player have such an open mandala area. So I'm gonna do that. I think because I know that I can guarantee play orange here to draw more cards next turn. That's my turn. Computer player goes over here. Green, no. Purple, no. Orange would be a repeat, so they discard it. Now moving over to the other mandala, they flip over black. No. Green, hey look, that move worked. They must discard it, and that's the end of their turn. Back to me now. I have one card in hand. I can either play this orange card over here into this mandala, or I can play into this mandala. I am tied in terms of number of cards there. You know what? I'm going to play it into this one because color diversity will stop him more. So I get to draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. This is my hand now. I don't know if I feel good about it or not, but it's my hand. They're going to go, hey, repeat. Their first card is one that I have, so just simply end of that turn over here. Flip over a card. Red is not represented, so they get to add it. They continue. Purple is already represented, so their turn ends and it's back to me. So what am I going to do? This is a sticky situation. I think that what I need to do... I hate this. I'm going to add my 2 green cards over here, hoping that this means I could maybe get the majority over here. It's end of my turn. Computer player draws a card that matches the card on my side. Their turn is done. Moving over to the other mandala, they flip over a red card. They add it. Boo! They add a green card, which means they just end the turn. This is good. I like the idea of a little bit more card control, color control. So, I have to play this red card into a mandala, into the mountain area in the middle, or discard it and draw a replacement number of cards. The replacement number of cards equal to the number of cards I discarded. I don't want to do that. I'm doing this? Oh no. This is probably my best move because it allows me to draw 3 cards. However, what you'll notice now is that I triggered the 6th color of this mandala. Because I played a card that finished it out, the opponent gets to grab cards first. So they're going to do their first preference. Their absolute first preference is to choose cards that there's the most of. In this case, it's a 3-way tie. So they always choose cards that have the most. The first tiebreaker amongst all of them is they want to grab cards that are not in their mandala, not in their river, I should say. Oh my gosh, as soon as this guy scores purple, he's going to end the game. And guess what? I'm not doing well. So now they finished. My turn to choose a card. I can either choose this red, which is worth 1 point for me, or would otherwise be 2 points for him. I could grab this orange and indicate that future orange cards will be worth 4 points and let my computer opponent get 2 points instead of the 1. This might be more important to do. I'm sure that this game is lost already because I'm playing, I don't know, it's a difficult opponent. It really is. So I'm going to do this, even though it's not worth points now. Hopefully, in a few turns, I'll actually score points. So the mandala recedes with these 2 cards. That was my turn. I drew up cards. And so therefore, now my opponent goes. My opponent will draw. Oh, look at that. No repeat. Oh no, there's no duplicate. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Hey, they finally hit a duplicate. So that happens over there. Now the computer opponent's going to come over here and they're going to draw. Confound it! They drew the card color that's not represented here. Therefore, they're going to trigger the end of the game. They're not going to play it here because then we would be tied on number of cards here, and then taking the action of playing the card would let me pick first, and they're not going to do that. So they're going to place this here. That means all 6 colors are represented here. The Mandala scores is going to break out in scoring. They have the most points, so therefore, look at this atrociousness. They will favor cards where there's the most, plus this is the color that they do not have represented yet in their river area. So my turn, I get to grab this orange card. Remember how I said, hey, orange cards are going to be worth 4 points for me at the end of the game? Sweet. What is less sweet is that I never ended up actually grabbing a black score indicator card. So those 2 black cards I started the game with are worth 0 points. They're worth nothing. Nada. Zilch. So, at this fun point of the game, we're going to take all the cards that are in our cup, and we're going to break them out. These ones are nothing. This is 2 and 2 points, and this one is 4 points. I ended the game with 8 points, because this is a computer opponent I'm not used to playing against yet, and I played terribly, which is fine. So, we're going to go through here, and ooh, they even started with one of these. So let's break out the cards and see how many points they scored. Gross, gross, gross. I think they got more than 8 points. So 12 plus 5 is 17. They didn't score any other greens. Every black is worth 3, so I said 17 plus 3 is 20. Plus 2 twos, so 24. And then 5 singles, so they have a score of 29 versus my 8, which I don't know if you know this or not, is greater. Therefore, Mandalatron has trounced the humans and has proven that machine is smarter than man. Humans have created AIs that will put us out of work and put us out of our misery, so I don't feel that harshly, but I do feel like I got trounced, and I feel like this is going to be a good game that I'm going to want to play solitaire time and time again until I figure out, because you can't play against this the way that you play against a human player, because they just have the potential of putting out so many more cards. I think that I had a few times where I had to play a little bit more color mitigation type strategy rather than like trying to get more cards. And maybe by doing that, I would have had opportunities to later in the game score some important cards, especially knowing that I started with these 2 black cards over here. At least grab one of these score indicators and make this worth points here at the end of the game. So anyway, I think that I would approach this. I think I have to continue to adapt playing against the AI versus playing against a real person. But like I said, this is one of my favorite little 2-player card games. It's super clever. It's super good. I love that you're creating scores as you go along throughout the game, rather than inherently black cards are worth 5 points and inherently yellow cards are worth 2 points. It's natural, and the point values that you have are completely different than the point values that they could be for your opponent player. So, fantastically brilliant game. This is a good solo mode, and the order of operations, figuring out how to run the computer player is so easy. It's a little bit weird to read at first, but once you have it down, you get it down within a single game. So, I recommend this. This is a fantastic game. I recommend it whether you're going to play it 2-player or whether you're going to play it solo. This is a neat little solitaire system. Super easy to teach, so you're likely, if you buy it for solitaire play, likely going to be able to find someone to play it with 2-player anyway at some point, because it feels like a classic card game. I really like it. So this is Chris from Meeple Overboard getting trounced by AI computer players. Hope that you enjoyed this video, hope that it was useful for you, and hopefully you found a new game that might spark your interest. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great one.